Hi, I'm Michael, the Head and Cash Prepper. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the hazard analysis and the needs analysis. But before we get started, I want to make an important point. We all live differently based upon financial, cultural, religious, and educational considerations, so it's important to not compare yourself to others, but to focus on you and your specific situation. The hazard analysis. So it's important to know, to identify what you're preparing for. I want to take the big four of natural disasters and say earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods. Well, they all lead to lots of places, loss of life, financial devastation. But in this instance, I'm going to just highlight power outages because that's a bit simpler to process. So as I've established before, you're preparing for the after effects of the event and not the event itself. So power outages, specifically during heat emergencies and extreme winter weather, should be at the top of the list of things you want to get some good solid plans and supplies in place for. So once you've identified what hazards are in your area and are likely to occur, you get started with your needs analysis. And this is where the good stuff comes in. You look at how many people are in your household. You live alone? Is it you and a couple of roommates? Is it you and your two preteen children? Or are you living in a multi-generational family situation with 12 people? If that is in fact the case, you're going to need to have supplies sufficient to sustain 12 people for a week, for 2 weeks, for 21 days. 21 days might seem like a long time, or 3 weeks might seem like a long time. That depends on the magnitude of the event and the location of the event. So again, you want to make sure you're doing your homework so that your plans are effective and that they're going to give you the greatest amount of readiness, response, and resilience on the back end of all that. So we've said you live in a household of 12 people. So you're going to look at how much water you drink. If you use bottled water, if you just drink straight tap water, that's great. But consider that in many parts of the country, cities and suburbs use electricity to pump water into homes. So you're going to need to have either a rain garden set up whereby you're able to capture rainwater to some degree, or you're going to have bottles of water. Keep in mind, you can also fill various containers and fill bathtubs and sinks with water before an event, but you're still going to need water stored somewhere in your home. So you're going to look at things like toilet paper, what kind of foods you eat. You're going to make sure you have all that kind of good stuff. I want to make another important point here. You want to make sure you are actually buying the foods your family actually eats. I mean, I don't want to throw anything out there, but say deviled ham or Chef Boyardee. If you didn't grow up eating those kinds of things, it's kind of not really likely you're going to acquire a taste for them just because the power's out. Although, if you're hungry, you'll figure it out pretty quickly. In any event, you want to make sure you're buying the foods you actually eat prior to the situation turning south. You also want to look, again, taking another look at the people in the household. What are the ages? What are the special populations? Special populations, let's say we can call that people who have perhaps cognitive, sensory, or physical challenges. Let's say that might also include the elderly and the very young. What are their medical conditions? Is it something fairly routine and common, such as high blood pressure? Is it some form of cancer that requires all sorts of specialized care? Is it something such as asthma that can flare up during times of stress or seasonal allergies? Whatever it is, you want to make sure you are accounting for that in your plans, and you have not only the medications, but whatever other equipment you might need, such as canes, walkers, wheelchairs. Here's a good one. Dentures. Do you have all the supplies for your dentures if you can't go to the store every week? If you wear contacts, do you have the solution for cleaning and storing your contacts on a daily basis? So again, you want to make sure you take that really deep dive into everyone in the household, what they need, what they use. So we know that our dietary considerations are based upon what we can afford. Also, culture and religion also impacts what we eat and how we eat. So you want to make sure those types of things are being factored into that equation as well. Because again, there's no value in being aware of this is how I live and this is what I need, but doing nothing on the back end to make sure you're able to sustain yourself when you can't go to the store on a weekly basis. So if you have pets, you want to make sure that you are providing for them as well, be it medication, a favorite toy, food and water, of course, and a nice lap in which to curl up. That certainly tends to make all of us feel better, especially in times of crisis when things are rough. I want to add a couple of things here. Marginalized communities always fare pretty badly, and that situation is not going to be any better when resources are scarce and altruism is even scarcer. So again, you want to make sure you're critically examining your situation and preparing yourself as best you're able to based upon what you can afford. So I think we have about wrapped up this topic. As always, thanks for watching, and I ask you, why wait?